Sauteing food is such a great cooking method. It's fast and it works. 10 minutes or under saute dishes today on Let's Cook. Hi, welcome to Let's Cook, where we are doing 10 minutes or under saute dishes. Now, let me just go over the menu because it's a great menu. We are doing a spicy shrimp in coconut milk. We are doing broccoli rabe with tomatoes and shredded beef and lettuce saute. Now, you know, the term saute, let me just give you the definition for it because it's actually French for it. It means literally to jump in a pan using minimum fat and high heat. The sauce is usually made in the same pan the item was sauteed in. That's basically sauteing, but there are a lot of variations of it. And basically, you know, when you saute something, you saute it. You remove the protein if it's a protein. You add aromatics. You deglaze it. You reduce. You add sauce. Sometimes you'll finish cooking the item in the oven if you have to. If it needs to be finished in the oven, you return the item to reheat. You finish the sauce. Those are basically the steps in sauteing, but as I said, there are a lot of variations. So the first item we're doing today, which is the shrimp in the coconut milk, it's basically a variation. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the marinade. So to make the marinade, the first thing that I'm going to use is I have some allspice berries here. So I'm just going to take those allspice berries and just break them up a little bit and get my allspice berries in a dish here just to release that flavor. I also need, this is a habanero chili, very hot chili. So if you handle this chili or buy this chili, be careful not to touch any membranes once you've worked with it. And what I'm going to do with this, so I release a lot of the heat from the chilies, I'm actually going to take and carefully dice this up a little bit. So we'll add this to our marinade. Then we're going to take an onion right here. We don't need all of the onion. We'll just use a little bit of this onion here. And we're just going to finely chop this too. So I'll just shave this off and we'll get some of this onion in there too, a little bit of onion. And now when you marinate the shrimp in this marinade, you only need to marinate it for anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour. Along with the onion here, I have some minced garlic that'll go in there. And I'm going to use some salad oil with some soy sauce and just a little bit of pepper. Now all I do with this is I just toss this together just to mix it nicely, get a little bit of salt in there. Not too much because we have this soy sauce. Very simple. And then we just pour this over our shrimp. Let the shrimp sit in it. Now, I already have some marinating here, so we'll just put this on top of these shrimp. I'm going to save a little bit of this marinade, though, because it has to go into my sauce, so I don't use all of it in the shrimp. Now, next, I'm going to heat my saute pan. Now, this is where it's a little different, where I'm not using really, really high heat. This is more of a saute simmering thing because I actually leave the protein in the pan rather than removing it. So I'll heat my pan right here. Then I'm going to go ahead, slide my shrimp. Let me get rid of some of that on top. Just slide my shrimp into the pan here and let them start to cook. When they change color, I'm going to go ahead and add some coconut milk to this. Well, they're changing color. Now we need to make a little bit of hot pineapple to go with this. To make the hot pineapple, I already have some diced pineapple here, but let me just show you how you can dice a pineapple or how you can peel the pineapple if you have a good knife. And this is kind of fun if you have friends over and you have a kitchen where everybody's there and they're all just hanging out while you're all cooking together. You take the pineapple like this. You're going to start with your knife right here and you cut through the pineapple skin. Then while it's this way, you're just going to go like this and you just open up the pineapple as you go all the way across it this way. And this way you get rid of all of the skin from the pineapple and you have a nice clean pineapple. And then from that, you can go ahead and just cut the pineapple down. This way, you're not going to use any of the middle core. And then you would take and you would just dice the pineapple. See how easy that dices up? It really dices up very nicely. So I have my diced pineapple. So to make the hot pineapple, I'm going to take some pineapple into my dish here. And along with that pineapple here, I have a little bit more habanero here. But this time I'm not going to dice a habanero. I'm just going to cut a piece of it, put the habanero in there. Along with that, I put a pinch here of cinnamon and a little bit of salt. And all I'm going to do is really heat this pineapple just so that it warms up. That's my hot pineapple. Now, remember my shrimp coming back over here now. My shrimp have started to change color. Now I just turn them over in a pan here. And they're already about 3/4 of the way cooked. Now I add my coconut milk to this. This is unsweetened coconut milk. Just add our coconut milk to this. That's good. And then what we do is we kind of baste these as they're cooking, and we allow them just to gently simmer. So you might call this sauteing, but it's a little bit like braising as well. So I have that in here, just a little bit more coconut milk in there. And now while that's going on, I'm going to come over here because I need a little bit of garnish for this. Just take a little bit of scallion here to garnish this. And again, remember, you can do these things at home, and it takes under 10 minutes to cook these, but setting up your ingredients, or what we would call mise en place, will take a little while longer. But that's okay, because it's well worth it, because then you can enjoy your company. Now, I'm already to a point here where my shrimp are almost done. My pineapples here are almost done. Now I just need to take a little bit of this marinade that I did not use before. I add that to my hot pineapples. So see how we're using all the flavors together here? This is now good to go with. Now, the marinade that I used, I poured some on the shrimp, but the marinade that I actually put in the hot pineapples did not come in contact with the shrimp. So now I'm just going to take my shrimp here, set them up in the dish right here. This is so nice because you have the heat, you have the sweetness from the pineapple, you have the coconut milk. It's just all there. Then we'll take our coconut milk, because the shrimp are just done here now. Take our coconut milk. We're going to let that reduce just a little bit. My pineapples are ready here. When my pineapples are ready, in go my cilantro. And it's just the whole leaves here where we just kind of toss this together. Let the natural moisture of the pineapples create this dish. Now I need to remove my habanero here because we don't want anybody eating that. We'll get rid of that. This is good to go. My coconut milk here has reduced enough now. So now I would just take this, put this right over my shrimp that way. Then right in the middle here, serve a little bit of my hot pineapple right in the very middle there. Doesn't that look good? And then, of course, finish this with just a little bit more of my cilantro leaves on top. We need to take a little break, but don't go anywhere, because for our 10-minute sautés, we are making broccoli rabe with tomatoes. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Let's Cook, where we are doing 10-minute or under sauté dishes. The next item I'm making, it's a broccoli rabe. Now, broccoli rabe is not related to broccoli. It's actually a vegetable related to both the cabbage and turnip family. The leafy green broccoli rabe has 6 to 9 inch stalks and scattered clusters of tiny broccoli-like buds. Let me show you what I'm talking about right here. I have some right here, and I've already cleaned up some of this, because a lot of people, when they clean up broccoli rabe, they leave way too much of these leaves on. Now, based on the leaves are somewhat bitter. So when you clean it up, you really need to pull these away and just maybe leave some small leaves, or even the broccoli like bud here. Now, based on the broccoli rabe that you buy, you can see there's a big difference in the size of the buds. Some of them will have smaller buds, some will have larger buds. So to make this, we need to make sure that these are all cleaned up. Now, these are already cleaned up here. And we also, on the end here, just let me show you the end here, where it's really long. Now, if you really want to cook it, this is before and after, basically. So you can see that I've taken I get rid of these leaves for, because they're too bitter to me. If they're yellow like this, I just get rid of them. I really clean them up here so that it's just a little bit more refined. Now, to cook these, we're going to blanch these in salted water. As a matter of fact, somebody the other day when I was by school, they were building a new building, and they said, "Hey, Paul, I make broccoli rabe. It's always bitter. It's always bitter. What do I need to do?" I said, "You need to blanch it first." So you really have to blanch the broccoli rabe before you go to make it. So, and when I say blanch it, that means you take salted water, you bring it up to a boil, and you drop the broccoli rabe in there. it's going to change color. Make sure you put a lot of salt in the water. The salt's very important in the water. Now, and you can do this, by the way, you can do this ahead and then you can shock this. But because I'm going to cook this all the way through in under 10 minutes, I'm going to leave it in there for about 2 minutes. While that's coming up, I'm going to take my pan right here. I'm going to put some good extra virgin olive oil in the bottom of that pan. Then I'm going to add some garlic to that. Now the garlic, again, remember the term for saute, it means literally to jump in a pan where you're using minimum fat or high heat. The temperature of the heat is based on what you're actually sauteing. So for instance, I don't really want my garlic here to brown, but I do want it to release its flavor, and I do want it just to be on the verge of browning. Okay, so you see, and jumping also means it's because it's lifting off of the pan. The broccoli, see it lifting, it's jumping, it's about to jump. My broccoli raw here is nicely blanched. I now take this, I drop it into here. Make sure you drain it well. I drop it into there. Here's where we just toss it around right here. There we go. Now, next, I add a little stock to this. What the stock is going to do is the stock is going to prevent the garlic from browning, and it's also going to enhance the flavor of the broccoli rabe. So now, the broccoli rabe is almost all the way cooked here. I just need to let it cook a little bit more. We want to soften it. See this wonderful bright green color that we have here? Out of this world. Now, it is bitter, but you really want to maintain this color. So if you blanch it, use enough salt in the water, you won't have that problem. And the salt can't penetrate the cellulose of the broccoli, so it'll really work. So now I have this nicely lined up here. Right over here now, I'm going to take some tomatoes. Along with those tomatoes, we'll use a little bit of salt here, a little bit of pepper, and we're going to season them up. Along with our broccoli rabe here, a little bit of pepper there. Then to serve this, it's so easy, it's so simple, and this is all done now. Toss this around right here. Shut off my heat. This is a great dish, and by the way, you can make this ahead of time and set it up in the oven. Then I'll just take some of my broccoli rabe right here. I'll lay it up right in the middle of this very cool plate. I really like this plate I have here. Then we'll take just our tomatoes with our garlic all the way around it this way. Now we need to do something to finish this. Need to finish this with a little bit of cheese. So rather than use grated cheese, I have some nice Romano cheese here, and I'll just cut slivers of it with my peeler. So I get nice slivers, and it's just hot enough just to melt the cheese. You can smell the, oh, I'm telling you. I don't know. I know I have to go to break right now because I need to eat a little bit of this broccoli rabe. Plus, when we come back, we're talking shredded beef and lettuce saute. 10-minute or under saute dishes today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Let's Cook, where we are doing 10-minute saute dishes, or under 10 minutes, actually. Now, the next item I'm making, this is kind of interesting because it is a shredded beef and lettuce saute. So you say, lettuce saute, Paul? What do you mean lettuce saute? Well, we're going to be using 3 different lettuces right here that I'm going to saute, but I'm going to blanch them before I saute them. It's going to have a great flavor because I have some iceberg there, I have some romaine, and I also have some escarole. So, but the first thing I need to do is I need to get my portobello mushroom ready. So to get the portobello mushroom ready, what I have to do is I like to remove the gills. To remove the gills from this, even though it's misshapen here, I can take a spoon and I can just scrape right on the inside here, getting rid of all those of the gills there of the portobello, and even the stem here too. We'll just get rid of that stem, and we can just scrape these off. This is going to give us a much cleaner flavor, and it's also going to give us a cleaner looking sauteed item. So we got this right here. We're just going to take this. We'll take these off. Now, along with these, we need to peel it. So I'll take, just using my finger here, I take and I turn it over, and I'm going to go ahead and peel this. See how nice it is? Where we're just going to go ahead and peel this. Beautiful. So now I need just to get rid of this mess from this because the portobello mushrooms, they make an awful lot of mess. So I'm going to take this right here, Get rid of these right here. Beautiful. So now I can go ahead and just take the portobello mushroom here, and I'm going to dice this. That's a nice thing about this. This is somewhat meaty. I'm not going to shred this. I'm just going to dice it where I cut it down this way, and I'm going to cut it down this way. And this is nice and meaty, and it takes a while for it to release some moisture. Now, that's one of the things that's scary about sauteing is if you get too much moisture in the pan, you lose your ability to saute. So I've already started to heat my pan here. I have some butter in here. The reason I'm using butter is the portobellos are going to take on that butter. They won't release too much water before I get my beef in there. So I'm just going to let these start to saute. Now, where they're sauteing, I'm going to take some beef here. This is basically bottom round that I bought at the supermarket, and all I did, and they cut it very thin like this, you know, a scallopini. I'll take 2 pieces of this, and I'll roll it because I need to shred this. Now, to shred this with your knife, you're going to use a nice sharp knife. See, by rolling it, you see how much easier it is to shred it? So I'll just take my beef here, shred this. I'll use 2 pieces for this. No, I'll use all 3. Got a hungry crew today, so we'll just shred that. Almost like as if you were making a cheesesteak, right? So let's go here. Get this all shredded. Now, before I put this in the pan here, I'm going to take the plate it was on. I'm going to drizzle this with a little bit of olive oil here. Then I'm going to season this with a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and just toss this together here. Okay. My pan is now reheated from the mushrooms. So, and my mushrooms, notice, they absorbed the butter here, but they did not start to cook too much. They didn't release a lot of moisture. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to switch this over to this burner over here because this is going to work better for me. So, and this burner, I think, gets a little hotter. So I'm going to pop this over here, drop my meat right in the pan here. Okay. Let that start to sear off or saute. Now, while that's sauteing, right here, I'm going to take my lettuces. Into boiling salted water they go. These will cook down to 1/10 of their volume, which means I'm not going to have too much left in there. So now let me just get my strainer off over here. Now I'm just going to take these out. See that bright green color? And let them drain. I'm not going to shock them. Just going to let these drain off. This is good. Come over here. Now let those drain. Come here. Take my meat. Move it around just so that it's nicely seared off. Needs a little bit more oil in here. Beautiful. A little more oil. When you add the oil, make sure you add it on the sides of the pan so it stays nice and hot. Now, we simply take our lettuce here, add our lettuce to this. That's enough lettuce. Toss this together. Then, over here, in this pot right here, I have some shallots. Add my shallots to the butter here. Then I use this lightly brown butter with some cheese and breadcrumbs. I put this together. Just mix this together because here's how we finish this saute. We now take this, shut off our meat here. We mix this together. We put this under the broiler in the oven just till it browns up. And we have a delicious beef and lettuce saute. Let's take a little break. I'm going to get this under the broiler. And then when we come back, you're going to see how wonderful this looks in our 10 minutes and under saute dishes. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Let's Cook, where we are talking 10 minutes or under saute dishes. Now, I need to pull our saute out here, which actually we gratinade that was finished with the cheese and the breadcrumbs. This is the lettuce and the beef saute out of this world. In addition to this saute, we also did our shrimp here, right here with the coconut milk. I'm excited about, you're interrupting my dinner here, with the cilantro and coconut milk, spicy pineapples. And then, of course, we did our broccoli rabe here with the tomatoes and the garlic. All of these dishes are sauteed items. They're all variations of saute. This beef is delicious. The cheese, the breadcrumbs, the lettuce, it's out of this world. Thank you so much for watching Let's Cook. And remember, when you go to saute something, have fun with it. Use high enough heat, use good fat, and have fun with it. We'll see you next time.